Well, Jake Moody is accepting your apologies. I'm here at Allegiant Stadium, the bowels of Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, and we just saw Jake Moody from 59 yards win the game for the 49ers at the buzzer, avoid what would have been yet another tie against the Raiders. But you cannot make this stuff up. Moody hit from 44 to tie the game, where you thought that was the clutch kick that Kyle Shanahan wanted to see, especially after Moody had missed from 53 earlier in this game. But then he made up for it with the 44-yarder after he just snuck in the short one, right? The fans really got nervous when he snuck in that short one. A lot of people were saying that Jake Moody better start packing his bags. But then he made from 44 and in absolutely epic fashion here. 49ers got the test case that they really wanted from Jake Moody, 59 yards to win the game. 22-19, 49ers over the Raiders here in Las Vegas. In just a few moments, I'm going to head to the 49ers locker room. We're going to get a very important injury report on Dominic Purdy. The good news is that after he, at the very least, rolled up his knee or leg on Jake Moody's initial field goal make at the end of the first drive, good news there is that Purdy returned to the bench and was not wearing a brace on his knee. So that's just what we know so far. Hopefully, we find out a little bit more in a few minutes. I will report it to you immediately, maybe even from the field here at Allegiant Stadium. Big takeaway from today outside of this Moody mania, Moody madness, 59 yards. He's looked good during training camp, and apparently he's locked back in now. He's going to have to carry it to the regular season, but outside of Moody madness here at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Brock Purdy looked really good. And I've been telling you guys that Purdy has looked good over the course of training camp so far. Well, today, Brock Purdy went out there, 5 of 7, 66 yards, marched the 49ers right down the field. Kyle Shanahan, even without Trent Williams playing today, trusted Purdy behind an offensive line that also included a starting rookie, Connor Colby, on 3rd and 18. He trusted a drop back. Max Crosby almost got to Purdy, but Purdy, quick release, beautiful throw. His first 3 completions went to Ricky Pearsall. So everything about that Purdy to Pearsall connection for the 49ers that we had talked about over the course of training camp showed up in this game. Pearsall only played that first series for San Francisco, but they are on the same page. They're looking sharp. Remember last year against the Saints, Purdy's first preseason game? They went 3 and out. He didn't have any receivers in that game, Pearsall included. Pearsall wasn't available there, but the offense just was completely disjointed. Kyle Shanahan wanted about 10 to 15 plays from Brock Purdy, but since it was 3 and out, he had to put him out there for another drive. Today, they went 12 plays. They kicked the field goal. Everything was good. QB1 looked solid, and unfortunately, Purdy got hurt on the field goal try, but the 49ers may be getting decent news on that based on what we saw on the sideline from Dominic Purdy. Mac Jones then also looked solid outside of the 1 interception to Jeremy Chin, dropping safety for the Raiders. Just didn't see him, threw the pick to Chin. Outside of that, though, only 2 incompletions for Mac Jones, 13 of 16, 135 yards. And I mean, last week, everybody was eviscerating Carter Bradley for how bad he looked against the Broncos. Carter Bradley, you got to give him credit. It's a revenge game for Carter Bradley. The Raiders cut him just a couple weeks ago. 49ers picked him up. Carter Bradley shows up, and at one point, it was like 8 of 9. And then at the end, there was a sack, and he was trying to tie the game. They got pushed back, so he threw a couple incompletions. But Carter Bradley ended up leading the 49ers to the tie, setting up the 44-yard field goal for Jake Moody. And then Jalen Mahoney had the interception with just 13 seconds left that allowed Moody to kick the game winner from 59 yards. That whole second half was played by a lot of reserve players, a lot of young players. We're going to get into all the tape, so you should subscribe now, follow me, because I'm going to get into this in detail. We'll have the big tape analysis ready for you shortly after I'm out of the locker room. I'm just going to stay here in Vegas and grind, but I can go through everything that happened in the game up until those late dramatic points and kind of contextualize things, because that's how the instant reaction here for the bowels of Allegiant Stadium is supposed to work. This is where I did the Super Bowl instant reaction. I did an instant reaction to a tie between the 49ers and the Raiders here last year. Now The 49ers win thanks to Jake Moody, 59 yards out. Again, he's accepting your apologies now. Purdy to Pearsall, 3 plays at the start. I thought the 49ers run blocking was not very good at the start of the game. A couple plays blown up, and that forced Purdy to go on that 3rd and 18 conversion. It makes sense. Ben Barch is currently hurt, so Connor Colby, the rookie, is having to play at left guard, and that's been a nice ascent for the 49ers, but obviously without Trent Williams, without Connor Cole, without Ben Barch on the left side, you're not with your first team veteran offensive line. And based on everything that we've heard from Kyle Shanahan, the 49ers, especially with Colby, are looking at somebody who's ahead in pass protection versus where he is in the run game. Versus his college tape, that obviously is a little bit surprising, but it is what it is. And I thought the 49ers pass protection with the first team that they threw out there today was actually better than the run blocking. They also didn't play Christian McCaffrey, right? And then they started seeing a ton of running back injuries that I'm going to check on right now when I head over into the 49ers locker room. Patrick Taylor Jr. shelved with a shoulder, and then Corey Kiner was kind of grabbing the high ankle area, the leg area. After a nice run, the rookie undrafted free agent had to be carted off the field. So what we saw was Jeff Wilson Jr. The way that he runs is so nostalgic for me, right? I watched him from 18 to 22 running for the 49ers. Got a little bit of an upright style. He might have lost some weight since the last time he was with San Francisco, but he's still punishing, and he punished his way to the 49ers' 1 touchdown today. It was only Wilson and Keyshawn Vaughn from the point that Corey Kiner got hurt. So the 49ers are definitely going to be on the running back market this week. Then we moved to see the 49ers on defense, and they got to play the Raiders starters. That was Geno Smith at quarterback. Early on, first play, Geno Smith threw a fade route to Brock Bowers, the really, really good tight end for the Raiders. And Jair Brown was in on coverage, and I thought he was in good position. Maybe Bowers had a little bit of a push there, but Jair wasn't able to get up off the ground. So good throw, great catch from Brock Bowers early in that drive led to an early Raiders field goal. I thought that Bryce Huff today, the 49ers defensive line was just like practice the other day, very, very beleaguered, right? So they're having to play Bryce Huff 3 downs early on and run defense situations that he's not going to see as a regular for the 49ers during the regular season when they've got guys like Bosa and Yetur Gross-Matos back. But I thought that Huff showed some good power pushing back the right tackle, DJ Glaze, in this game. And the rest of the 49ers defensive linemen early just weren't ready for the Raiders run game, as you would expect. They're playing a lot of replacement guys. Alfred Collins is still a rookie trying to develop, trying to find that lower leverage. So the Raiders had some rushing success early, but it's all something that we entered this game knowing would very, very likely happen. This was about watching some of the 49ers younger players continue to develop. One player who I thought stood out was Nick Martin, the rookie linebacker who looked really bad last week. He was out of control last week, but we saw the athleticism last week, right? In his first NFL game, first real action in a while because he had hurt his MCL last year at Oklahoma State. Nick Martin was infinitely better today. So for anybody who tried to bury Nick Martin last week, this is a lesson. This is, the Moody thing should be a lesson to people too, but the Nick Martin thing, it's like, hey, give a guy a chance, right? This is you know how hard it is to play this game? You know how hard it is to make it from the college level up to the NFL level, even just the preseason? Like, it's one of those where you have to give guys a chance to develop, especially somebody who went through Nick Martin's situation. So Robert Saleh has been calling a lot of blitzes. He trusted Nick Martin with a blitz that turned into a big sack in the first half. I think he's going to be a really good blitzer because of how fast he moves. We didn't get to see Upton Stout today, but we got to see Marquise Siegel. And those 3 guys in this draft class, all 3 of them are extremely fast, extremely explosive. They might be relatively undersized compared to their peers at the position, but they are very, very quick movers. And we saw Robert Saleh use that to his advantage with that blitz to Nick Martin. We got a quick update on Dominic Purdy. Right knee, apparently he is limping as he's walking on the field. So Mike is watching the telecast right now before I head into the locker room. Of course, when Kyle Shanahan speaks, when I head into the locker room, I'm going to have a full update on Dominic Purdy, Patrick Taylor Jr., and Corey Kiner. Those are the three 49ers we know were hurt today. We'll see sometimes, and I would even say usually, there are other injuries that we're going to have to get to. The 49ers are playing Demarcus Robinson a lot because they expect him to be suspended for the start of the regular season. He made some nice plays, fought for a first down today, although he did drop Brock Purdy's first incompletion. It was a little quick hitter. Could the throw have been a little bit lower? Sure, but it's an NFL receiver. He's got to hold on to that pass. I think the 49ers probably score a touchdown on that first drive if Demarcus Robinson is able to hold on to it. Russell Gage, nice diving catch. We've been talking a lot about Russell Gage, the veteran receiver. Trevis Gipson, a sack. He was one of the replacement 49ers defensive linemen who saw quite a bit of time in this game. A little bit later, we saw Chase Lucas. Haven't talked about him yet. I got it. He's going to force his way onto this roster, isn't he? Big interception. He was covering Alex Bachman in the second half, ran the route for Alex Bachman. So Lucas has been making play after play after play in 2 straight games. And then he had a sack that helped set up the Jalen Mahoney interception, which gave the 49ers the ball back. And that's when Jake Moody was able to kick the 59-yard field goal. So Chase Lucas, scrappy player, huge 49ers scout team guy last season. I think when a guy does this over and over again during a game, he earns a lot of respect from his teammates. He earns a lot of credibility in the locker room. He already did last year with his work on the scout team, playing both DB and receiver. And I think that's going to earn Chase Lucas ultimately a spot on this roster. At least he has an inside track to do that right now. All right, so they mobbed Jake Moody after this one was all said and done. He deserved it. He's been through a lot, and he's been kicking very well over the course of this offseason. Remember, last year, Moody had only missed 1 kick up until the high ankle sprain. So he was hurt last year. People need to back off of, players who are going through injury and stop acting like they're not, somehow physically compromised, because it obviously was the case with Jake Moody last season. He's healthy now, and he just drilled a 59-yard field goal to win this game against the Las Vegas Raiders. So the 49ers in the win column. It's the preseason, so the score doesn't really matter, but the emotion, the tidal wave of activity around it really does. Summary today: Purdy looked awesome. That's what the 49ers needed. They checked him out of the game after. I thought Mac Jones looked solid as well for San Francisco. And then, of course, Jake Moody. I mean, it was an up-and-down game. They wanted evaluations for Jake Moody. They wanted a good opportunity to see what he was going to be all about, even in adversity. And he missed the 53-yarder. I would count that as adversity. But then he made the shorter one, made from 44, which was high pressure. That was to tie the game. And then Jalen Mahoney's interception following the Chase Lucas sack gave the 49ers the ball right back, where Moody drilled the 59-yard field goal. Career long. He had hit a 57 before. I believe that one was in Minnesota. Also kicked the long one, a 55 here in the Super Bowl. So he obviously has a lot of leg talent. And even the 2-stride approach. Actually, I'm going to have to watch the replay to see maybe if he went back to 3 strides. He made the adjustment to 2 strides this offseason, but he said that took a couple yards of range off. Maybe he went back to 3 strides to try to boot through that 59-yarder, which was successful. The 49ers won. I'm going to get a Purdy update for you right now. He's left with a knee possible PCL injury. So we have the Purdy update. This is a good way to finish here for the 49ers. Dominic Purdy, PCL injury, not an ACL. That's good news for the 49ers. And he might be out a couple weeks. So we end this with a lot. This is excellent. Nobody's open for serious injuries, right? And a ACL would have been big trouble for San Francisco, but a PCL for Dominic Purdy might be back within a couple weeks, and it's a high ankle sprain, as we speculated, for Corey Kiner. But on this day, Jake Moody is accepting apologies. 59 yards, wins the game here in Las Vegas. We are in the bowels of Allegiant Stadium. I got to head to the 49ers locker room, talk to some guys. Tune in. I'll talk to you soon.